Hello everyone, Jaime Mantilla here, and in this video I wanted to share with you about AI testing and LLMs testing, which is something that I've been learning for the past weeks. This is something that has blown my mind. I put a post yesterday, it's gotten many impressions, and I explained that in the past 10 hours, or in a matter of 10 hours, I've learned more than what I've learned in the past 8 months in terms of AI and AI related to quality assurance and testing in general, right? I'm going to go over some of the tools that I'm using. I'm going to give you a small demo of how to test local models and commercial models. And I'm going to go over the tools that I've been introduced to that are going to change the landscape for software engineering, quality assurance, quality engineering, and many more. So if this is for you, stay. If not, I hope you learn from this, because this is something that is actually changing technology and it's changing the job market and things like that. So I'm just gonna jump into it real quick. What you see in front of me is LM Studios. This is Visual Studio. I'm using Cursor, but I'm using Promptfoo behind the scenes to be able to test the LLMs. Okay. Now, I'm going to go over the post that I posted yesterday. So it's like a wake-up call for software testers. To all my traditional fellow QAs, QEs, SDETs, if you think AI won't change your job, think again. In less than 10 hours, I learned more about using AI in testing than I had in the past 8 months on my own. It opened my eyes to how fast our work is changing and how important it is to keep up. If you don't know what AI testing is, LLM testing, Promptfoo, HuggingFace, LMS Studio, or LangTest, and if you don't have hands-on experience utilizing these tools, your job could be at risk next year. And I mean it, because that's something that I'm living. That's something that I'm seeing. AI is changing so fast that if you don't adapt, you're just going to stay behind, okay? So AI isn't here to replace testers. It is here to replace testers who don't know about the use of this, okay? So again, if you're in this market or in this industry, I want you to pay attention. I want you to go and do the research. I have a link here of a new cohort of the training that I'm taking. So you might as well take that training, right? I'm going to be sharing some of my learnings in the next few weeks. But again, if you don't go with mentors, like-minded community, and if you just sit down and wait for things to happen, sorry to tell you, but you're probably going to be either laid off or replaced by somebody that is being proactive and taking this type of training. All right. So this was my post. This is Promptfoo, and this is a results dashboard that it provides. I'm just going to walk you through that real quick, but I'm going to show you here about the tool. So Promptfoo is a secure AI from prompt to production. So you use that pretty much to test different models. So instead of you having to do this manually, going to ChatGPT to test X, Y, and Z models, or to go to Claude, or to test their models, and to go to Perplexity and Gemini and all these other places, or UI front ends to be able to test their models, it's just going to be very difficult, because there's many places you need to go to, many clicks, many things that you have to do. But if you're able to automate this type of testing, then life is going to be much easier, and you're going to be ahead of the game. Okay, so this is one of them. LMS Studio is for you to be able to download and run models on your computer. So you can actually run many models from HuggingFace and other marketplaces. But HuggingFace is pretty much where you get all these models that people are testing, and the community is just huge. That you can just grab any model and test as much as you want, and use it for many things. They have data sets, they have other things, but this is high level. You can do your own research. This is not for me to tell you everything about each thing. But so far, Promptfoo, LMS Studio, HuggingFace is what I've been used right now. So now I'm just going to jump into the demo and kind of walk you through what I've learned so far. I'm sure that I'm going to be learning tons in the next in the next weeks. But so far, this is what I wanted to show you, okay? So LMS Studio, and I'm going to make my head smaller here. So LMS Studio, this is the workbench that you actually download onto your desktop. You can actually download it on Mac or Windows. But you have a chat option where you can actually, once you download the models that you want to search, so if I go here, you can actually search for many models that are available. You can give it the name, you know, Gamma, Gemini, you know, Llama, OpenAI. Anyway, there's thousands of models that you can actually test on your local machine. So you search it, you download it, then you test it here on the chat if you want. There's actually this gives you the list of models that you're currently testing. It gives you the information of each model, how big it is, and all that stuff. And then you have a developer's console, and this is the console where you can actually connect you can actually have LLM Studio act as a server so that you can call it from Promptfoo and be able to test these local models. Okay, so that's what I'm going to demonstrate in this video. So stay tuned. And this high level, how you set it up, you have to call these local host or endpoint, which is right here. You configure it in this Promptfoo config YAML. YAML stands for yet another markup language, but that's what is being used to be able to configure all these things. And again, I'm not going to go into many details, but this is high level of how things work. So you have this Promptfoo config YAML, which contains the description of what you want to test. He has a section for prompts, which is what you want to send Promptfoo, or not Promptfoo, but the models that you want to test, in this case, the providers. So you will send the providers the information, and then the providers will respond with the right outputs. And that's what you're going to test, is what outputs are coming from which models and how accurate they are, how expensive or not expensive, how many tokens are being used, and all that stuff. So you have the providers here. This is the provider for my local model. In this case, would be Llama 3.0. This is my endpoint. There's no need for an API because it's already in my machine. This is the model that I'm using. The temperature that I'm using is like how random you want the answers to be. Recommended to be 0.7. 0 is not randomness. The higher it is the more randomness the response would be. And then the maximum number of tokens that you want it to respond. Okay. And I'm using ChatGPT 0.5 just came out. And I commented out these other ones. I was testing Claude and I was testing GPT 3.5. So that's no big deal. Just wanted to kind of show you what it's going to look like. Some of these will fail because there's different assertions, and that's the point. I'm just going to show you what it does. But you have the test, you have the certain variables, the specific topic that you want to use for the specific prompt. So in this case, you have the prompt, and then you have these variables, which in this case would be the topic here. And then I'm asserting for different type of there's different type of assertions, but I'm asserting to contain any values within this array. So code, developer, computer, and so forth. This is for topic number 1. Topic number 2 is artificial intelligence. And I'm testing for contains of AI, machine learning, and model. And then also I am testing for, this is a function. So it is a function to make sure that the output is less than the maximum amount of tokens that I'm sending. Okay. So this is mostly a calculation. It's not 100%, the amount of tokens, but it's an average of 150 tokens if we just do it this way. Okay. And then the next topic is coffee, and just make sure that whenever this prompt is sent, so tell me a short joke about coffee, or explain coffee in exactly 2 sentences, then I'm looking for it to say something about beans, caffeine, drink, and brew. As far as the jokes, it may not get all the assertions, but again, this is what you're going to see, and this is what you're going to validate. Once you start working for a company, there's going to be knowledge bases, there's going to be specific requirements, and there's other things that are going to be done in order for you to get the right outputs, and you set it up correctly. So this is just a high level, just to show you about AI testing, LM testing, and what I've learned so far. Okay, so again, just to show you that I'm being connected to this LM Studio, I'm just gonna clear that developer log, and I'm going to send a call command calling this endpoint and to give me a list of models. So I have the model here, which is that one here, and then there's my OpenAI, my Llama 3.0 instruct model, which is the one that I'm sending and I'm calling in my local, and then ChatGPT 0.5. I have my environment variable, so that's the commercial side of things. So you actually have to set up your own account on OpenAI, add some budget to be able to call it and get the responses. So I'm just gonna do it with 2, and that should do it. All right. So all you have to do here is you're gonna send Promptfoo eval, which is going to call the models with the actual prompts, is going to do the test, the validation, and things like that. So imagine this took like, I don't know, milliseconds. Imagine you doing these with different models, different applications, different things. It's going to take you forever. And especially if you have to do regression testing and you have to repeat this test every time there is a deployment, then you're probably going to be screwed. Okay. So again, this is why this is being introduced. This is why I'm actually studying it. This is actually why I am diving into AI, because AI is here to stay and it's just going to get better and better. All right. So here, you get some sort of report, but it doesn't give you all the details. That is not easy to read. So all you have to do is actually, and all these results, you're gonna see them in a nice dashboard, which is the one that I show you on the LinkedIn post. So all you have to do is Promptfoo view, which is going to open up the browser. Well, it's gonna ask me whether I want to do it or not. So it's gonna open up the browser on my local host, and it's going to give you a high level of what had just happened. So I don't know about you, but this is just amazing to me. And this is why I'm actually showing it and I'm pushing it, and I want to continue to dive in it, and I want to continue to push people to jump into this, because I don't want to see nobody lose their job just because of their inability of taking action, or just because they don't know what's going on. Okay. So I'm going to keep on posting information about my learnings and things like that. But overall, this is what the dashboard looks like. So you have the topics, which in this case would be programming, artificial intelligence, and coffee, which is what I show you. It gives you the information of the actual model. So in this case, it's Llama 3.0, which is what I show you. And you actually have 2 columns for each of the topics or the prompts that I send, right? One is the jokes and one is the explanation sentence. And then you have another 2 columns for GPT-0.5 with the actual prompts. So the 2 prompts. So in this case, it's a total of 4 tests. So imagine you testing 10 models. If you do this manually, just typing on your keyboard is going to take forever. But if you just input them into the providers on this YAML file, then you're going to have a bunch of columns with different prompts, and you can actually test thousands of prompts. So again, this is super basic, but this is actually to expand your mind and for you to kind of start digging and seeking for more information, because this is something that is going to be very, very valuable for you and your profession. So these are here some of the responses. So, why do programmers prefer dark mode? Because light attracts bugs. That's the joke. He was looking for a code developer, computer software. This is, I would say, subjective in a sense, right? Like you're putting the actual assertions, but again, the idea is for it to fail so that you can see the greens and the reds. But I don't expect to be 100% accurate on a joke, because a joke could be super random. So, and then for programming, so explain the topic of programming or explain the topic of artificial intelligence. So artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence into machines that are programmed to think and learn like humans, enabling them to perform the tasks that typically requires human intelligence, as a visual perception, a speech recognition, decision making, all that stuff. And it is looking to, let me see if I dive into this, it is looking to test or assert or validate that the word machine, learning, and model are part of the response. So as you can see, it is green, it passed, it contains some of these. So as you can see, give you a lot of details. You can actually dive into it. You can actually mark it to pass, mark it to fail. You can actually set a score. And you can actually edit the comments if you have any comments, right? So again, it gives you the details. And that'll be for every single model and every single prompt. You can actually dive deeper into it and all the stuff. This is what I've learned so far. These are the charts as far as what's failing, what's passing, but it gives you a nice visual of what you can do here. You can actually share the results. You can actually change it to, light mode, to dark mode. It gives you all the information pretty much. Again, and this is just the beginning. This is a lot for me. This is kind of blowing my mind. The next few weeks are going to be like packed with bunch of value and a lot of golden nuggets. So I'm going to be continue to post about this because this is just amazing to me. So hopefully you find this value as well. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thank you.